Yay! Hi, everyone, and this is the second discussion panel for the Weed and Wrestling podcast. Tonight, we're here with multiple people, and we're all going to just introduce ourselves. First of all, I'm Laniya. We know that. And Ryan's here. Everybody else
Rebel
introduce
Professor
yourself.
Rybart Lash, the eccentric enigma.
Yeah, that. So you
That
guys
name's
introduce
Ric Flair
yourselves.
approved.
Him too. Gus, Will, anybody want to introduce themselves?
Hey, sorry. My name is Gus. Wrestling fan since I've been a kid. I'm not afraid to admit it, and this might trigger Lanaya, but I used to be a Hogan fan, 100%. But I've grown out of that. I hopefully be mending my ways and.
Well, that's all that matters. Growing up. And we have someone returning from yesterday. Introduce yourself again, dude.
Yeah, how you doing? Good evening. Name is Willie. I've been a wrestling fan for 30 years. It's good to be back on this program again. Gus, nice to meet you. Again,
Same
just
here, brother.
thanks for having me here on this program again, and let's have some fun again. Yesterday was epic.
And today it's going to be better
It was.
because the topic is hardcore. So let's start with
Woo!
everybody name the top five hardcore. I'll go last.
All right, so
Oh,
all
no.
right. I guess let me kick it off. I'm gonna say obviously we lost a great one in Sabu. Sabu was an amazing wrestler. And the
Mhm.
fact that he put his body on the line so many times. I still remember that moonsault he did where he caught the guardrail and continued the match. So Sabu gotta keep you close, bro. So
Hardcore man.
him, the psychotic Japanese enigma, Mr. Pogo. If you guys haven't
Oh,
seen him, you need to watch him.
I
He
need more
would
of his
come out.
profile.
He would come out with ninja weaponry and slice people open. This guy pulled a Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and blew fire and put some like lit somebody up. So you need to watch him if you want to watch. Obviously, you cannot mention hardcore without the two greats and an honorable mention to their death match, Mick Foley and Terry Funk. Without them, you do not have American hardcore. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know what?
Very much.
Also, another late great wrestler, God rest his soul, ECW legend New Jack. He was one crazy motherfucker. Let's face facts. You
New
know,
Jack was
Mm-hmm.
like
hardcore.
he would
That's
go in
right.
to hurt you, and he didn't care what was going on. So those are my top five.
Like literally, he'd try to kill you. Like he embodied everything hardcore to the point where like he was just a walking, hardcore-ness energy. Definitely great list. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. So my top five hardcore wrestlers ever. Rob Van Dam.
I can't hear you. Is that just me?
Yeah,
Last thing
I
I
couldn't
heard
hear him.
from last thing I heard from him was Van Dam,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I'm guessing that's Rob, not John.
We don't talk about that one.
yeah.
So I guess we'll sign back in. We'll give him a couple of minutes.
I'll go to my list in the
Okay.
meantime.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So for me, can y'all still see and hear me? Shit,
We can hear you.
my window is that weird. Okay, there I am. Because usually on my phone it'll minimize the window.
Mm.
There we go. Okay. All right. Yeah. For my top five, I got Terry Funk just as my number one. He's pretty much my number one on a lot of lists. Um, just that guy just incorporated so much into so many different industries and so many different companies, and just was amazing. Mick Foley, arguably the toughest man ever in wrestling. He just took the most ridiculous bumps ever. Um, Rob Van Dam is one of mine. Just that man is an innovator in just everything. Um, he's one of those. He's like Shawn Michaels. You could have him wrestle a paper bag and it would still be entertaining. Um, um, then I got Sabu. Reach out for the ones at Sabu. Which I was just kind of figuring out too. I was like, he was kind of having people acknowledge him, but well before Roman Reigns. It's pointing the finger up in the air. But he was just so ridiculous. Fought until the end, and then New Jack, because he's so hardcore. The man has justified homicides. He has killed people and gotten away with it.
He's the only wrestler who's like, he's gonna try to kill you, like, and you serious.
That's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
It was on video.
Yeah.
He tried to kill people. We seen it. He said it. He said, I tried to kill him.
He tried.
Yeah,
He tried. He tried. Let's get it straight. He didn't do it. He tried.
Convicted homicide. But I'm like, that's as hardcore as you can get. He's gonna try to kill you. Like, can't get more hardcore than that.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you can't get more hardcore than that. Honorable mention to Asa Akira.
Okay.
Let's go back to you, Will. You can finish yours.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, it's just technical difficulties, but I start with Rob Van Dam. I think he was amazing. I think he was an amazing wrestler. In terms of what he used to do for ECW, his time in WWF was pretty good. I'm gonna go with Taz, the NCW title.
RVD had the best ass in the industry. Okay, I have to say.
All right, I mean, keep that comment with yourself, though.
I beg to differ.
Yes, I'm gonna go with Taz. I'm gonna go with Taz. The Taz mission I thought was real good. He was a real good wrestler.
Good choice.
I definitely liked Raven. Raven was real good. Raven when he went to WCW with the Raven flock, that was great. I loved Lance Storm. Lance Storm was amazing. Again, if you was on yesterday's podcast, I bigged up the Canadian wrestlers a lot. And definitely I gotta go with Mankind, Cactus Jack. He was amazing. He's the pioneer. He's the father, man. So you definitely gotta have a list and put him on there. So, and again, honorable mention, definitely gonna say New Jack was. I mean, he used to beat you up with them toys, the bats, used to bring out the shopping carts. Oh my God, man! So that's literally those to me, those are the greatest wrestlers of ECW history.
I can.
For sure.
So it's up to me now. Okay,
yeah, it's up to you.
I love old school wrestlers, but I did also. One of mine was Atsushi Onita. He was the owner of FW in Japan. He's fucking crazy. He's just crazy. He literally made up the exploding ring matches, those death matches. And yeah, he was absolutely insane. We talk a lot about him throughout this, but just wanted to make sure he was number one on my list. Dusty Rhodes, because the older ones they started the cutting yourself and stuff like that. They were the beginning. And I think without them and their influence, it wouldn't evolve. And I'm all about evolution and how things came to be. Also Sabu, because rest in peace.
Dusty
Sabu.
loved it, baby. He loved it. He loved the hardcore wrestling, and he loved to beat the shit out of people and have the blood everywhere. Oh yes.
Yeah, they like WWF dumbed him down so much, but that was just the era. And but yeah, Sabu, because rest in peace. I mean, what can you say about Sabu? Like again, he's another one that embodied hardcore. Terry Funk, because old school like massive hardcore. He also worked with Sushi and Nika a lot, so
Hmm.
yeah, they worked off each other, and I thought that was really cool because Terry brought a lot of the crazy shit that Onita like did in Japan here, and like helped when they formed ECW and stuff like that. He definitely helped fill that in like into the company, and I think that was a great connection that helped wrestling, especially hardcore division for like, generations. So I think things like that are necessary. Mick Foley, of course, like Cactus Jack, dude, love mankind. He's great. Lost the ear, tooth coming through his lip. I mean, there's just so many things we could think of when we say Mick Foley. I also put honorable mentions for Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, New Jack, and Abdul the Butcher. Because why the fuck do that? Like they're all hardcore. We all have a crazy story that we've seen or heard about them throughout the years. So I think all of them deserve a shout out because we're discussing hardcore.
My my honorable mentions the Dudleys. Get the tables.
Get the tables.
Oh yeah, get the tables.
I thought someone else would say them, so I was like, I'm just gonna honorable mention people that like people might miss. Although none of us miss New Jack, which
Yeah.
good job, you guys. Solidarity.
Well, I mean, there's so many hardcore
Did anybody
wrestlers.
mention the Sandman?
I said honorable mention Sandman.
Did anybody mention
Tommy,
the Sandman?
I
No,
said
I don't think
honorable
they
Yeah.
did.
Sandman.
mention.
But there's so many like iconic hardcore wrestlers that there you
Uh,
just can't. You're gonna miss some if we're doing a top five. You can't mention them all. But
yeah,
yeah, honorable mention
Yeah.
to
Tommy
all of them.
Dreamer.
yeah.
Hmm.
And like I wanted to mention Mr. Pogo. There's so many Japanese hardcore wrestlers. So many
Yeah.
of them. It's like it's hard just five. I don't even know if you can just do a top 20 on that, honestly.
No, I mean, like when I watched Mr. Pogo for the first time, watching those old FMW VHS tapes,
Yo, those
like
VHS, if you didn't have friends
yeah,
with those VHSs,
the
you really didn't have a friend back in the day.
yeah during the Be Kind rewind era. But
Mm,
yo, I
I love
remember watching Mr. Pogo for the first time, and it was just like a jaw-dropping, like mind fuck of an experience. Excuse the language. It was just one of those things. Like,
Fine.
wait, this is not what I'm used to. This is not me watching like Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. This is something that was very unique to Japan at the time, and it was so special to
Yeah,
watch. It was like
very
watching a
much so.
train wreck meet like just I can't even describe it. It was just watching a train wreck.
It was definitely, definitely, definitely amazing experience, like when you're younger, especially because you have that rush of I'm not supposed to do this anyway. But then what you were actually watching was just like I want to watch this forever. I don't care. Maybe it just might be me. Get tables, but I think that, and something, another thing, like with and like we don't recognize it, but without the hardcore legends that started it, there would be no Attitude Era. There'd be no
Nope.
ECW. Those things literally set the tone for a generation, and I think that doesn't get talked about enough. That definitely should be something we talk about and celebrate more, because there would be no Attitude Era if you didn't have the hardcore legends. There would be ECW
Yep.
if there wasn't an FMW.
Yep.
Agreed.
So I'm glad we're all going to discuss this. Will's having some technical difficulties, as I was earlier. We're just going to blame the app today, and maybe the weather too. So yay!
Yeah. Yeah. He's back.
So who's going
But
to start off the discussion?
Yeah.
We're going to have today.
What's up? What topic we on?
Like, anyone want to discuss the 70s era? Do anyone go back that far?
Damn, the '70s era. Like honestly, I'm probably oldest cat in
I
here.
can't.
I can't even remember the 70s era. Like I literally, I listen. I was born like a month after Star Wars premiered, so like I caught the end of this of the 70s wrestling era. So we're talking 80s and above. I could probably do that.
I mean, like I watched a lot of old school videos. I'm just obsessed with old school everything. So I watch the old Terry Funk tapes and stuff like that. So that's what I just wondering if you guys, watch that stuff. That's just when we're baselining this. We're going 80s. What are we doing here?
Well, you know
Because
what? The 70s I don't mind touching on. I just got to do some, especially since they're on uh the Peacock app. You could watch some of that stuff. So I definitely going to go back and watch those, and we could definitely discuss 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do the 80s and the 90s and above, but 70s. I mean, I only know two wrestlers, Ric Flair and the American Dream. I mean, you know,
well, for what I'm
I
discussing,
mean, I
I
could talk
really,
about, we could talk about Hogan for 2 hours.
I we can't. Not here. I mean, we can, but not here.
Somebody's looking to get into a death match.
Yeah, nah. I really focused
He would never
on
be caught in a fucking death match. He's a
Who,
fucking
sushi.
Hogan?
pussy.
So, and I might be that. I'm crazy as shit, so I like that stuff. So I might be, but I don't know anybody else here. But I focused on Atsushi Onita, so I guess maybe I should start off
Sure.
Yeah.
because he was like he started FMW in 1999. So I guess that'd be a little explaining section here. All right. So are you guys familiar with Atsushi Onita?
Yes.
Oh no.
All right. Well, he's Japanese. He was a heavyweight ace in the 70s there. He branched off to be All Japan Pro Wrestling. And he was really good at top of his class, but he always craved something more. Um he almost got killed by a booker in Dominican Republic because he always wanted something more and he wouldn't mind his business. So it's just baseline for where this guy started off. Because he ended
That seems
up
to be a revolving theme around hardcore wrestling. Is a lot of these guys get shot and stabbed, like
Yeah.
this
by
is funny.
fans.
This is funny because he was in Texas with Terry Funk when he got in an argument with the booker, a different booker from DR, and he got his knee broken and shattered.
Oh,
And Terry Funk
Damn.
didn't help him, but
Damn.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He was an idiot in whatever country he was in, and like the more I think about him, like maybe I should have chose this topic. Okay, but he
Gonna
like
open
he
up some
tried
cold cases.
He tried wrestling like in the 80s here in America, like he was following Terry Funk and stuff like that. But because he was belligerent alcoholic and like when he like booked people to be like their manager, he didn't pay them. He got like beat up a lot and he got kicked out of wrestling places, like got banned from a lot of wrestling places a lot. So he was like, I'm going back to Japan because I got connections there. And yeah, he started wrestling there again, but he got in trouble because they have strict rules about mixing martial arts with wrestling and stuff like that. And so he got banned from so many places. He had to create FMW, and this is actually like the first hardcore division in Japan, like hardcore. One of the original people he worked
They got
with,
big crowds too.
yeah, I mean, not like
FMW got big crowd.
yeah, to what in the 90s and stuff, like in the middle of the 90s when he started, he was feeding off the all American League that was there still, and they weren't used to that hardcore that he was trying to, pull through. So they didn't get a lot of attention until after the first exploding ropes match that he did at sea. Like he brought the ring out into the sea and had the match and exploded, and the people like, oh my god, they died. But then like that piqued everyone's attention, and we started paying attention to him, and that's when he got Jerry Blayman, who's actually Jerry Flynn from WCW. Do you guys remember him?
Yep.
He worked closely with Onita. in Japan. On a lot of different things he did. So some of the original hardcore stuff we started seeing in WCW because no, that's his wrestling name. Flynn. Jerry Flynn worked directly with Onita when he was building up FMW. So he really wanted to make a big splash, Onita, when like FMW after he did the floating, exploding match. So what he did was he went to Puerto Rico and he shot a promo with the murderer of Brody, Bruiser Brody, and he like insinuated that the guy's name was Invader One at that point. He was insinuated that Invader One stabbed him, and like it was not a good look. It was not a good look for him, but it did get a lot of people to sign up for him, and then he started doing exploding death matches. And the first exploding death match was like 1994. And they literally would just have barbed wire inside the rings and like explode it with pyrotechnics.
Damn.
Yes. Oh, you never heard about that?
No.
Terry Funk used to be there all the time.
Yeah, dude,
Dude, you need to
Japanese death
watch.
matches are no.
Dude, they
No,
were.
I saw some of them at ECW. That's just crazy. Like I don't know why
Yeah.
people just do that.
He tried to
Like
get
you know.
Invader One to actually do a match with him, and he agreed to it, but Japan wouldn't allow him to come in the country because he killed
Right.
Bruiser Brody. Like, they're like, you guys
Yeah.
are kidding us. Like, no, there's certain rules you can't do. And so he tried to like steal other people's talents and use them if they like match the same thing, and kept getting in trouble. And it's really like, it sounds like I'm not talking about him, but this is really what he did. He created this company, got a whole bunch of his friends, and then just left and did a whole bunch of different stupid shit in different places and got in trouble and kept coming back. He left for a certain amount of time to become an actor. Certain parts, he ran for elections and won, so he became a congressman while he was running this company. It really like made no sense. He did everything and nothing. So this like one famous match I wrote down because Sabu was in it. This was like his first big one that people paid attention because it was the Sheik and Sabu, and I had to write down. He was actually Onita. Not only ran the company, he wrestled in the company. So he got his old partner Tanzagatu to do a fire death match, and like everybody, all four of them were inside. Sabu, his partner Onita, and Sheik were inside the ring. And what he did was he exploded the entire ring, but the ring was covered in barbed wire, so it like ricocheted off and like hit them. And the Sheik actually got caught inside the ring, and he got third-degree burns, and he ended up in coma. But Onita invited him back when he came out of the coma a month later and gave him the title there. And that's how he repaid him for killing him. That's literally this guy Onita. That's how crazy he was.
It's crazy,
So
man.
like to promote like his next match after that, he jumped off a bridge into like one of the main rivers and got a viral infection. He almost died. Like a month later, he was in a match with Terry Funk, and he accidentally swallowed barbed wire, and he almost died. I mean, that's really what he did, and I'm really excited about it. But the more I think about it, it was really bad. The last match he did with Terry Funk for a very long time after he swallowed the barbed wire was it was like a tribute match more than anything. He was wrestling Terry Funk himself, and he exploded the ring. But instead of like leaving, he covered Terry Funk's body, and they like went down together. They both ended up in the hospital with severe burns, but it made really nice photos. Onita said. I'm not joking. This is
Might have gotten burned, but it was a great spot.
Yeah, and that was 1994, and that was right around like the time like ECW started like really gain like traction in the US, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
ECW really the whole start off with it was they were Eastern Championship Wrestling. They were still a part of the
Right,
NWA,
right.
and Shane Douglas won the NWA Championship and then forfeited it and said that the ECW title was going to be the Extreme Championship Wrestling title and that it was an actual world title and that they were basically breaking off from the NWA. And that's when they changed their name and started just getting into local stuff. That was around like 92, 93,
Yep.
when they really first started. And that was around when I first started watching them, was around like 93, 94, because we would get one station, a local station from Pennsylvania, and they would come on, and it would be random times too. Like sometimes it would be like 8 o'clock on a Saturday night.
Sometimes you
Sometimes it would
do
be like
that.
midnight on a
Yeah.
Saturday night, or like at 2 in the morning. Like,
Yeah, you know what? That's
um,
good. You brought that up too. That's true.
Yeah. You got it. You got it in Yonkers too, because I used to watch it.
Yeah, because I started watching. Not to cut you off. I started watching ECW. I think in like '97 or '98, and I think on MSG they used to show ECW like 12 o'clock early Sunday morning at 12 o'clock. They would show ECW. So I remember that.
yep.
Definitely remember that because it was too
yeah. I
graphic to
Yeah,
wasn't
use during the
fortunate.
day.
they had a hard time.
Yeah, I wasn't
They had a
fortunate enough
hard
to
time
catch
being able to.
ECW.
Oh, were you?
No, I wasn't fortunate enough to catch ECW. I just didn't catch wind
Oh,
of it until its final leg, just before they went out of business. But what I saw was like
yeah,
holy shit stuff. But I did catch like the Japanese stuff, like the FMW and the death matches, which highly influenced ECW.
Yeah. And also,
yeah.
Onita literally worked
It
with
definitely did.
all those people. Like he worked with Paul Heyman, he worked with Terry Funk, he worked with Dusty Roy, he worked with all those people firsthand. And actually, Sabu left his company because Sabu was an idiot. The Yakuza loved the fact that they got really popular there, so of course they got their cut, and like they had section that was like sectioned off to Yakuza, and Sabu was told, you don't go in that area, don't do anything there, and of course Sabu did like a head dive directly into the Yakuza, and then well he was hiding out with like the guy, I keep forgetting the guy's name, like something Olston or Orston, like help protect them, but he still got beat almost to death, and he had to drag them to the locker room, and they were both scared for their life, and that's how they left FMW because Sabu, because of come back will kill you, and that happened.
Sounds about right. um, but yeah, ECW they went on, and their biggest problem was always finding solid TV syndication.
Right.
In a lot of areas, and it wasn't even all because of money behind it necessarily. At the time, they were able to get advertisers, but it was because of the level and degree of the matches that they were putting on and how violent that they were. That the different channels didn't want to put them on, or if they would, like I remember getting certain broadcasts of them cut out, that it'd be like the last 30 minutes to just cut out, and friends would come on. Yeah.
So censored. Like,
Yeah, but I
no.
mean,
But
if you look at it, ECW was ahead of its time, because a
absolutely,
lot of the stuff that they were putting
absolutely.
on, you're gonna see maybe a watered down version of that now, and you're only
Yeah.
gonna see a lot of that stuff in the indies where you don't really have any restrictions. I mean,
Yep.
I remember
Yeah.
watching on YouTube. You can probably find it on YouTube. These two wrestlers were fighting over a championship, and they had to dip their hands in an aquarium with rattlesnakes. You're not going to see that on WWE.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Piranha matches.
Yeah, you're not going to see that.
Yeah,
But
it's because, like, just to answer your question, it's just the indies can get away with it because they're not backed by shareholders. So that's the reason why ECW
yeah,
got away with with all that violent stuff because there was no shareholders. They're independent. Now, when you're a shareholder company like WWE now, it's limits on what they can do. Like they can't go back to the Attitude Era because it's not an independent company anymore. It's not family owned.
yeah. No, AEW is basically the last kind of bastion for that, and that's because
Right.
Tony's all coked up and like, do what you want.
Right.
Well, let's hope he
But
doesn't go the way of
wait.
WCW.
But here's the loophole. Here's the loophole though, right? And I think a lot of people's not, if you overthink it, he has to limit what he can do because for one, he's on TNT, which is backed by Warner Brothers. Also, his father, which backs AEW, he owns the Jaguars. So in a way, he has to chill on what's being like broadcast where AEW wrestlers are allowed to do what they can do and not do. So
Oh yeah, if Mr. Khan there ever dad ever got like really upset about something,
yeah. Oh yeah.
there goes
He had to
AEW.
stop funding it. Yeah,
Yeah.
he would just stop
Take away
funding it.
your-
Absolutely.
Yep.
That would be quite a mess up if like somehow he pissed off his dad enough that they would that he would just uplift the company.
Taking away your
But
company.
back to
Absolutely.
but what I did compile what I feel are some like top 5 matches from ECW.
Okay.
Right here. Let's get to my list here. Start out with number 5, Terry Funk and Mick Foley at Hardcore Heaven in '94. Really great match, but the memory best of that match is when Terry Funk asked the crowd to toss him some chairs, and the crowd began to toss about 100 chairs into the ring.
Everybody around.
Yeah. Which one did hit the back of Terry's head. He was okay from it, though, but the match itself was really good and hardcore, but just that outcome, the aftermath of it, is legendary. Next, also including Terry Funk, Sabu versus Terry Funk at Born to Be Wired in '97. Which was super insane. And at one point, Sabu tore his arm open off of the razor wire. He tore open his arm down to the muscle, and he used super glue. To put it back on and continue the match. And then Terry Funk brought out wire cutters and was using wire cutters on Sabu. And that was actually the last barbed wire match in ECW because of what Terry Funk did with the wire cutters and everything. I mean, most likely, it's probably because Paul bounced some checkbooks and stuff like that and couldn't pay for barbed wire anymore. But that was the last barbed wire match in the ECW. Number 3, I got Axel Rotten for Heaven in '95, their Broken Glass match. For those of you who have not seen this match, they put tape on their hands, and then they put super glue on it, and they put their hands into broken glass.
Oh, so they were pulling the end of Kickboxer with Jean-Claude Van Damme is what you're telling me.
Yep. Yeah, that's what they did. And they proceeded to beat the ever-living piss out of each other and got the whole ring pretty much blood red. But for guys that they were a tag team, kayfabe brothers and stuff, it just crazy ass match. Next, these two are kind of tied for first but I kind of put the second one. So for number 2, I got the Gangsters versus Devon Dudley and Mass Transit, otherwise known as the Mass Transit Incident. For those of you playing the home game, they put on a show in the middle of nowhere in this like side hall, and a young 17-year-old kid and his dad were able to get him on because Devon Dudley's partner had dropped out last minute, and they lied about his age, and he told New Jack that he wanted to take some color, that he wanted to bleed,
himself.
and New Jack was more than willing to oblige. He cut this man so deep that he nearly killed him. He passed out in the ring. His dad was being held back by security guards while he's screaming, "That's my son. He's 17." Another case of New Jack trying to kill somebody.
You get stupid prizes.
Exactly. He played with the wrong one. You're gonna let your 17-year-old get in a ring with New Jack and say he wants to see color? Again, New Jack tried to kill people. Everybody knew that.
Wrong one to say that too. Wrong one to say that too. And then number 1 also involves New Jack. It's New Jack versus Vic Grimes at Living Dangerously in 2000.
He tried to kill him.
So the precursor to Living Dangerously is what is known as the Danbury incident, where about a year beforehand, New Jack and Vic Grimes were wrestling. They went off the top of one of the rafters, crashed down onto the table. Well, Vic Grimes, when they crashed down, he crashed down and landed directly on New Jack's head and knocked him out, caused permanent brain damage, and he lost vision in his right eye. He was blind in his right eye from that. So Vic Grimes' original opponent a match had dropped out, and so they put on the match last minute, and they get all these tables and everything set up for that. But New Jack, when they are up there in those rafters, he tried to overthrow so that he didn't land on those tables and that he would die. That's what he was trying to do. He was trying to kill him for blinding him. And
he was collecting that receipt.
Yeah, quite the receipt.
Like, he was trying to kill that guy. He was trying to kill him. The guy like broke his legs or something.
Yeah. But it was a ridiculously insane match, and I kind of put those as the most attraction matches. You know, if it comes down to like genuine wrestling and stuff, innovation, there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, you could put every Rob Van Dam match up there and it would be a top 5. But for actual like stuff that ECW created memories with, that was my top 5 for that. Especially just New Jack, man. He rest his soul. That was a tortured soul, man. That was a tortured ass soul.
He's another one that was always completely honest, though. So I respect him on so many levels.
I don't have a top 5 hardcore matches like you do, bro. But I will say there's a couple of matches that do stick out to me. Number 1, I would say the retirement match for Megumi Kudo. She, in that match, it was an electrified barbed wire match, and she fought her ex-girlfriend, Shark Sequoia. Now, let me tell you, everybody talks about Mick Foley and Terry Funk, their death match, which was a good death match. But I believe, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate on this for people who watch this, that match with Megumi Kudo and Shark Sequoia was a superior match. They played with people's emotions. Like, they didn't touch the barbed wire for like the first 10 minutes of the match, and they gave you moments of like, holy shit, are they gonna touch the barbed wire? It was one of those things that they just played with your emotions, and it was just such a great match. The second match, it wasn't really a match, but when WWF had the hardcore title, I remember one episode of Raw where the title changed hand like 6 times. Like you got Crash Holly pinning this one, the Hurricane slamming the door and getting the pin, Molly Hot. It was just like hot potatoes. I thought that was a very memorable moment. It was more of a fun hardcore match. It wasn't hardcore, but the fact that they made it go through that the entire 2 hours of Raw, I thought was brilliant. And I think that one person I do have to mention, which I consider him more of a high flyer, but he was in the FMW organization. Hayabusa put on some fucking like highlight reel matches.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Good recommendation.
I only did one match,
and
that's really I remember, and was significant to me. It was 1996. Terry Funk, Mr. Pogo, and Tanaka in the no ropes exploding barbed wire double hell exploding death match. That was insane. It was from start to finish. It was bloody. It was brilliant. It was gorgeous, and I loved it.
An honorable mention of hardcore guys, that hardcore Holly, Bob Holly, one of my favorite things, and I go back and watch it all the time. It's the Royal Rumble in 2003. It's either 2003 or 2004, but Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero open it up, and then I think it was Jay Cutler. The Tough Enough winner.
Tough Enough.
Yeah, the Tough Enough winner came out, stole the mic, said that he's gonna make history, and he made history. The Royal Rumble too, and apparently, and there's a couple stories behind this. The first story is that he legitimately went off script and grabbed the mic, and that they whooped his ass for it. The second story is that Vince told him to do that, knowing that he would get his ass whooped.
That wouldn't surprise me.
And then the third story comes from Bob Holly, who I believe the most, is that he did go off script and he went and did that, and Eddie Guerrero and Benoit started beating up on him, and that Bob wasn't supposed to come in, and Vince told him, go in there and whip that man's ass. And so Bob Holly came out too, and they chopped the ever-living shit out of him, suplexed the ever-living shit out of him. Like, it was all real. It was all real. You
could fingerprint their hands off of his chest. I don't know how you could fake that.
Yeah, you could see all the red in his chest, and Lawler and JR were loving it too.
I mean, the laws from the old school hardcore, like, they'd actually try to kill you because they wouldn't get in trouble. The rules thing, so.
But shout out to Bob Holly. He's a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah, he is. I read his book and I was like, I never knew how crazy you actually were.
Yeah, he's legit crazy.
Yeah, like legitimately crazy. It was pretty awesome reading his book, actually.
Yeah. But I guess should we kind of talk about the evolution of hardcore when it came to WWE?
Yeah. I mean, I already talked about FMW, which was like the 80s into the 90s. And without like FMW, you wouldn't have ECW. And I think it says before, but you wouldn't have ECW, you wouldn't have the Attitude Era. So yes, that'd be a great segue.
Yeah. Well, Mick Foley was the inaugural champion. He was the inaugural hardcore champion. I don't know how they did that, but I'm pretty sure by the time that title was retired, I think 72 or something people had held that title at one point or another.
Yeah, about 10 of them were crowned during that match I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that many.
No, I don't think it was that many. I'm exaggerating, but it was like literally throughout a 2-hour period that they
Oh
just
yeah, I
kept changing
vaguely remember
titles.
that. Yeah, I vaguely remember that
Oh,
going back and forth.
yeah, definitely one of my favorite wrestlers from that time, Al Snow.
Head. We all will love Head.
Yeah. What does everybody want? He was just on a whole different level with his character work. The shit with him and Big Boss Man. When they were going at each other, and he made him eat his dog.
Yeah. There's so many
He made him eat his dog, and then they had one of the worst matches of all time. The like dog in a cell match. It was like a hell in a cell with a steel cage on the inside of it, and then they had dogs like in between there. One of the worst matches of all time.
I don't
I think it was at I think that was at a King of the Ring, that match. I think it was. Might have been King of the Ring 99 or 98. I don't know. But it was terrible match. But Hardcore Holly, who I already gave a shout out to him. Crash Holly, who's no longer with us. He was a great little guy. Just carrying down that weight scale with him.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then also a shout out to the Job Squad. The Job Squad. That's
in ages.
I'm like, I don't remember what that is.
Yeah, that's a deep cut. Blue Meanie, and whoever his like fucking one thing was, and then they had the guy who had done Hurricane. Not Hurricane
Shane
Helms. They had him, but they had the guy who did Typhoon. The guy, the wrestler who played Typhoon. That was the guy with the mask on his head that wore the Cartman shirt.
I have a real question. I have a real question. What the fuck did Blue Meanie ever do besides get beat up by JBL that we remember?
Nothing. Came out, did his weird dance. He was
I know he was a wrestler.
He was like a sex slave to Goldust for a while.
Listen, the Blue Meanie was the equivalent of that little corner guy that comes out in Mortal Kombat. Toasty.
Yeah.
So, we all remember Blue Meanie, but only because JBL beat him up. But literally, JBL beat him into our memories. Just everybody remember that.
No, you know what's funny? I literally have like an old school ECW from like '94 playing right now. Right now it's Taz versus Rey Mysterio. But there have been clips of the Blue Meanie all over the place.
Yeah, he's in ECW. And
I remember with the whole Blue World Order.
I don't remember shit he did.
Yeah,
I remember him being there, but I don't remember shit he did.
Like I don't remember seeing him in any matches. Like him actually being called the Blue Meanie versus whatever, Just Incredible or what.
Yeah, I don't remember anything like that. Like, what did he actually do besides get beat up by JBL and become famous?
Honestly, I think he was like the equivalent of Francine.
Yeah. He was Goldust sex slave for a little bit there, Blue Meanie.
Yo, Goldust had some good taste.
Look back, we're talking about obscure fucking wrestlers from the hardcore era of WWE, like Blue Meanie.
And I was just wondering, what did Blue Meanie ever do besides get beat up by JBL that we remember? Like, just an honest question.
Yeah.
All he did was wear a crop top and booty shorts.
He get beat up, and that's why I remember him. I mean, that's a hell of a way to be famous. He has to know that too. He has to know that people only know him because he got beat up. Like that's.
Oh yeah. He knew what he was signing up for.
Imagine being a man and being that memory that you have with you all your life. People know me because I got beat up. Or you don't believe me? They know me because I got beat up. That's all. Right.
Um,
Well, watch
I'm
ECW.
trying to think of some other wrestlers.
What's some ECW you
Trying to
remember?
think of some other wrestlers.
I mean, listen, they weren't really hardcore in the WWF, but I mean, they were pretty hardcore everywhere else. The Bushwhackers.
Yeah, man. I wouldn't
Yeah.
watch
Yeah,
it.
Bushwhackers is a good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, American wise, they were a goofy ass tag team, and maybe they weren't. I mean, they were liked. They were fan favorites, but they weren't really. They weren't really showcased. They were as they were in other territories and other countries. Because you could look up Bushwhackers, like look up their indie stuff, look up their stuff from overseas or whatever. They're pretty badass.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's also the Road Warriors. They were in. They went everywhere. Road Warriors,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, went to like every major promotion and just destroyed people.
And you know what's so funny? Like, I feel like the
Yeah,
wrestlers,
WCW kind of ended their career.
yeah, yeah, and I feel like the wrestlers that like did do better, like in indie or like overseas, when they came back to major promotions here, they killed their careers, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
You know what's so crazy? It's a lot of it's like their career is discounted.
Yeah, I don't know why they do that either. Like they were still wrestling, so I'm like,
Yeah, which one thing that worries me right now is that Travis Scott, fucker, going off and having the hardcore title and carrying that around with him. Like TKO had said, like apparently they want to tone down on the blood and stuff like that. Which it's like, what the fuck? Why? One, but
they want to tone down the curve.
Shareholders,
yeah,
it's for the company.
What the fuck they doing?
but yeah, if they're even like slightly promoting, him like wearing that hardcore title. If you bring back the hardcore division, you better play fucking hard. And I think that that it would be something welcome to the modern era, especially because you got a lot of hardcore guys out there right now. I mean, Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, they put on one of the most hardcore Hell in the Cells months ago there.
I think Drew is
And that
amazing.
4-way at Backlash.
Well, if you want to talk hardcore, let's talk about Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. That was a fucking hell of a match. Like that was a draw for me. It was a draw dropping match.
Yeah.
But I will say this: as much as I enjoy hardcore, as much as I enjoy the bloody wreckage that hardcore matches have, like I've watched certain indie show hardcore matches, and there's certain things that I feel maybe because I'm old school, they're taking things a bit too far. You know what I mean? Like, what was that match with John Moxley where he took a spiked bat and it just stuck to him? That literally made me cringe.
I mean,
yeah, that AEW is just kind of loaded with stuff there where it's like, what's his name that just climbed Mount Everest? That Sting was his boy. Forgetting his name.
Me too.
Oh,
he's got half of his face painted all the time.
He shot his pants, didn't he? I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name. But he shit his pants in the middle of a match. I remember that.
Darby Allin.
Yes.
Yeah. And I remember that because that man himself has committed so many like moves and taken so many hard bumps that I'm like, he's gonna die. He's gonna end up killing himself in one of these things. And I think he'd be fine with that. He seems like that kind of psychopath. That would be like, oh, I died doing a hardcore move in wrestling, rad.
I mean, but
Yeah,
like,
I just think there's certain things.
and barbed wire on chairs, that's like old school
There's
hardcore, like when they really didn't care, you know?
certain small things.
Yeah.
I think there's certain things where you might take it a bit too far. You know what I mean? Like some of these things that are being done, you're gonna hear about somebody like actually dying. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Like I
Yeah.
said, I love a good like thumbtacks on the mat. I love watching somebody put their head through I remember Raven going through the shopping cart in the corner. I don't mind that, but there's certain things, and maybe I've gone off,
Well, Hudson
but
Park
there's certain
resident.
things that I think are
Okay,
taking it way too far.
cool. Thank you.
Eh.
Yeah. And it's been more and more evident there because, I mean, there's even been fans of AEW hardcore. Some of their stuff gets at times, and how brutal they can be at certain times. So it's like you're okay. You're not even appeasing your fans anymore. You know that. So why do it? But that seems to be the question with a lot of things. That company is why do it? Because Tony said so.
And there's somebody out there that'll watch it. That's why they really do it, because somebody
Yeah,
out
it's
there
true.
will watch it, no matter how bad it gets. I'm one of those people. I love blood. I'm like,
Yeah.
I like, ooh, let me take a picture. I mean, some are sicker than others. So, I mean, that's just the way the world.
I'll be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, listen, with that, I actually have to start getting ready for work, but we will pick this up either with this or some other subject. We'll be in contact. It was great talking to you guys. Will, it was great meeting you.
Okay.
Until the next hardcore match, I'll see you guys later.
All right. Talk to you. Bye.
All right.
Well, Gus had to go, and it seems that someone else is in the laboratories. So I am going to continue to talk about how all those hardcore things bled right into the Attitude Era. Um, we had a lot of people that came from Japan and ECW and those type of things that had to be dispersed into different, territories. And we got a lot of the hardcore people like Mick Foley and Hardcore Holly and Crash Holly coming through WWE, which made it awesome for the time, and also made a lot more blood. They brought the real hardcore with them for a while, and it was a great time to be alive. Um, I know Onita like was still trying to wrestle in Japan for decades, even when FMW became FMWE, which is FMW Explode, and it was just exploding things and pain and blood, but it was worth it. You can never get those times back again, which is like anything is worth it. Mike Orson. Mike Orson was the man that protected Sabu after he got beaten half to death by Yakuza, which I glossed over earlier, but I want to make sure I got it absolutely correct. And that is my correction. Mike Orson is the man who barricaded himself in the locker room in Japan with Sabu after he got almost beat within inches of his life by Yakuza because he didn't listen. Rest in peace, Sabu. FMW stands Frontier Martial Art Wrestling, and that's what FMW stands for. And I probably should have said that. Let's start off with. Wish we had more people, commentators and stuff. Because I mean, not more commentators, more people to comment. I think this is a great discussion. Yay, I'm so excited. It is really fun for me. We just have someone to debate with right now because I want to talk about where hardcore is going and what we should do about hardcore and how we want to press, wrestling companies right now to get more hardcore out of them. Because I think it's very important that we keep that lineage of hardcore going, understanding the safety measures we have to take now, understanding that cutting yourself and sharing razors will give you STDs, but still being safe but still doing it. I think would be able to see more if people were safe about things, or there was generally information coming from the company to teach people. And that's what I want for the future of hardcore. I want hardcore to reign, but also common sense and education to be at the forefront so that hardcore reigning won't cause problems and issues like possibly transmission of STDs, as in the case with Voodoo Butcher, and probably others that we just won't hear about. Um, this is weird. I've done this way. I'm going to. Can't pause this. All right. Well, I think now would be a great time for us to stop since seems like most people have departed. Thank you for joining us at Lead in Wrestling for this awesome discussion panel. And until next time, bye.
Oh, did we end it?
I ended it because everybody left except me. So
Fair enough.
Gus had to go to work, and I don't know where Will is. We can start it again. I don't know. I mean, do you think we're done? Do you think more we can discuss? Because we can jump back on.
I don't have anything particular at the moment.
Okay, cool.
I guess that's Will. I guess we can just end it for now.
I already ended it. We can always restart it, but okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But
great.
Yeah, I thought that went well.
I think that went well, yeah.
Yep. Minus technical difficulties.
Yeah, everybody's computer fucking up. It's crazy.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get enough videos and stuff going here that we can just start live streaming just right off of fucking YouTube.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Because I think
you're getting like.
I think you have to. I think you've had to make like 50 videos or 50 shorts or something before it technically like lets you do straight up recording off of it.
I think we can do that now, though.
Yeah.
I can launch this through
I don't know.
YouTube Studio. I can launch live through YouTube Studio.
Okay, I know I tried it one time and it didn't allow me. So
Or maybe we can't.
But maybe. But all right.
I don't know. I don't.
I guess tomorrow night's SmackDown. So I guess you want to try to shoot for reviews Saturday.
I mean, whatever you want to do. I mean,
or another
are you
discussion.
open? Are you open during the Tuesdays and Thursdays seems to be when everybody's free. Are you open during the day to film tomorrow?
Okay. I've got shit going on.
Okay.
I'm gonna be busy during the day.
All right, because I'm like open all day tomorrow, but yeah, we'll see. I could probably.
All right. Yeah.
Get the next day. We'll see.
I could always wake up super early ass in the morning. We could do it then too.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or Saturday.
Let's just go for Saturday.
Yeah, let's do Saturday because Saturday is easier for me anyway, in general.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Cool.
I'll be talking
Later.
to you. Peace.
Yeah.
And